Mm-hmm. Why do you think then there is so much confusion and so much almost conflict about death? I mean, we have, of course, certain religions believe in reincarnation, others don't. Some religions say, once you die, that's it. This is your only chance. You've only got one life, I think is the expression. I think why is there such conflict around this? Why is there such, polarity, if you like?
I think the polarity comes because every time people talk about death and what is the reality of the death experience and the nature of life, the soul, or afterlife, it's always linked to some kind of moralizing. There's always a moral judgment that comes along with it.
Okay.
And that's
like
what
sort of heaven and hell.
Heaven and hell, exactly. It's always this black and white kind of issue. And it's a Western trait, frankly, because many of the Eastern traditions look at death and say, it's open. So it's whatever you want it to be. It doesn't come with a moral judgment. We can explore the if you like, the mechanics of the soul and death without moralizing. Actually, and that makes it easier.
Yeah, reminds me, there's a wonderful film, I don't know if you've seen it, Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come. And it's a fabulous film. It's about death. And it's beautiful because he sort of goes to what you might call heaven. He actually goes up to this higher dimension that you might call heaven after the love of his life has died, and he so much wants to be with her. And when he gets up to heaven, he's told, well, she's in hell. You can't see her. But the whole moral of the film, well, not so much moral, I think the sort of, if you like, the learning behind the film is exactly what you're saying. It's like, it's whatever you think life after death is going to be is what you're going to get. I mean, that's there is no hell, but if you believe in hell, yes, you can go to a life of hell. If you believe in heaven, you can go to a life of heaven. Yeah. Does that not fit in with what you said earlier about intent and desire?
Yeah, I mean, the heaven hell kind of.
I know what you're thinking. I mean, the whole heaven hell. It's an illusion.
So childish.
Isn't it?
It's very childish.
Yeah.
It's taking.
But maybe it's a good metaphor.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's become too simplistic, and again, always linked with moral judgment.
Yes.
And as soon as when you do that, you're turning off the population. They don't want to know.
Yeah.
And I think it's unfortunate, but because if we actually understood that it's not a question of big judgment at the end of the thing, and eternity thereafter being dependent on a few actions in this lifetime. That's personally, I think that's an insane philosophy. We have eternity ahead of us, but we have every opportunity at every moment of that eternity to make it what we want it to be. We will make some good judgments, we will do some good things that assist our path along the way, and we will do some daft things and foolish and evil things along the path that damage us. But we will always have the chance to keep progressing along the path and creating our own reality. And every change, every death should be hopefully progressive and take us a stage further in our kind of quest for peace and ultimate happiness.
So what would you say then to someone who's really afraid of dying? I mean, what sort of, if advice is the right word, I mean, what would you say to them that's going to, if you like, get them out of that sort of, oh no, I'm going to die sort of thing? I mean, do you know what I'm saying? I'm exaggerating slightly to make the point, but is there something that, to get them off this sort of...
I mean, when you're actually counselling someone who is kind of facing death in terms of a terminal... We're all facing death, but we're happy to put that aside and assume that it's decades away. But if someone is actually facing it close, I think it's very hard to deal with that because, I have a hard time, if I'm on holiday somewhere and thinking, the holiday's ending in a few days' time.
Yeah.
You kind of feel, you get into a state about that. You're going to be, something you're enjoying is about to end. Yeah. So it's never going to be easy.
But
counselling, and you know,
Excuse me.
for someone who's not in the same, you know, circumstance, we're always going to come over a little trite. I think, I mean, in my kind of role, you know, as a minister, I've had, you know, in the Hindu kind of culture, I obviously had to be in that circumstance. And all we can do is ask them to consider the meditations that the Gita offers, so that we start to see, well, actually, you know, it is not the final thing. Yeah. It is not the end of everything. And that I do have the chance to build on all the aspirations. And what the Gita says is that wherever your mind is at the last stage of your life, that will carry you to your next stage.
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying about the Robin
And
Williams
I personally believe that everyone gets notice of death.
Oh, really? How?
I believe that everyone, you know, it's not just a question of the doctor coming and saying you've got a week to live. Everyone starts to have a sense that something is coming. Sometimes, they, you know,
well, like
in the Indian, actually, when I was working with the Indian community, it would happen all the time. You know, the family would say, you know, the father died, you know, our grandfather died, and last week he said, "Oh well, next Tuesday I won't be around." What do you mean? You know, we'll all be kind of going out to such and such. I said, "No, I'm going next week." So just tell everyone, you know, that I love them and everything's kind of sorted and all right.
To have that awareness,
you know, so many would have that inkling, and even if it wasn't as clear as that, often it would be that they suddenly have a change. Things that they were interested in suddenly wouldn't be as important. You know, just sitting down watching daytime TV or something, you know, or doing the kind of Monday, and suddenly they'd be kind of feeling, no, actually, I want to kind of study a little bit. I want to kind of understand, you know, and they'd just be moving, and then it would just be almost somehow nature allows that at that last stage of your life, you get the chance to look at things and really focus. Well, what is important, and allow that to carry you on.